YouTube. So this video today, I want to have a chat with you all about access. Now, how I tend to look at access, I think a property with sucky, not very good access is fine for a one-off job, because you can almost quote into it, and you can with both, to be fair. You can quote into it and you think to yourself, well, you know, once it's done, it's done. You know, you don't have to worry about it. And I've been to, I do draw my line on certain access points, and I'll get onto that in a bit. But it's like last year, I went and did a quote for a lawn renovation, and it was one of those properties where it's like it's in a village setting. So imagine a village, and it's like as if there used to be a big farm, and then they've converted they've like built houses in the middle of it. So it's on a main road, so you can't park on it, double yellows. And then the access is up a, you know, like single lane sort of, you know, track, so to speak. But then at the top of that, so you can't park on that, and then when you get up to the top of that, there's a driveway at the top, but then there's like an alleyway. And obviously the customer that I was going to didn't live with a house with a driveway. She was the one down the end of this like narrow alleyway, and that was it. Her property was like landlocked all the way round. And then we went to the lawn, went to the garden, and it was like one lawn was here, then one was up like a set of steps, and either side there was lawns, but they weren't her lawns. And then her lawn, she had two lawns, and one was at the top. So it was like, Jesus Christ, I thought I was going to need like a treasure map to get to it. So that aside, the access itself was very tight. So the pathway to get to it, I measured, it was like 57 centimetres, because I looked, I thought, this is going to be too tight. So it was tight for me, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to get a machine down here. So obviously I went and looked at it, and there was no way. So even with all that aside, even if you could get access, if I could get my machine to it, I would have priced for the job, to be fair, but I couldn't, so I didn't price in the end. But that would have been okay as a one-off. It would have been a case of negotiating with, you know, basically I'd draw up, drop all my equipment off, and then tuck it out of the way, or get the customer to watch it, and then I would obviously pot it down, park somewhere, which, you know, could be looking at it. It was a bit of a distance away, and then I would walk up, you know, Shank's pony, walk back up, do the job, and then do it all in reverse. Obviously, there's the added time that if you forget something, you've got to go down and get it. And so, like I said, stuff like that for me is fine as a one-off job. I can put up with that. That's an extreme example, but I could have put up with that. Now, when bad access comes to regular jobs, that's when I look at it, and that's maybe almost you should look at it like that. As it's going to be bad access every time. It's going to be a ball ache every single time. Do you want to do it? Do you want to put up with it? Yes, you can put a price on. I've got properties that I do which is up a set of steps, and the lawn itself would be, you know, just to throw off a couple of figures here, it'd be 25 quid lawn for anybody else, but because it's sort of tight access, parking's a bit of a shit, it's got a set of steps, you know, steep steps to get up to, it's that little bit more. And the customer understands that, and she's fine with that, and she pays, in air quotes, a premium price. Not a ridiculous price, but she'll pay that little bit more. And same with that lady that when I went and quoted for the lawn renovation, I did say to her that I am going to have to charge for the lack of parking. I made it clear to her it's going to be a little bit more. And she says, Luke, and she basically said that that's the one thing about living where she lives, and she admits this, is that every trade she has puts on a premium, puts on a price for the parking issue and for the rights away, you know, for all the problems that's associated with it. So, you know, in many ways, it's, you know, it's the price you pay. Is that fair? It's not up for me to debate, but at the same time, you know, you've got to factor it in. You're taking time out your day, you're running all about here and there. And like I said, so one-off jobs I don't mind too much. When it comes down to regular jobs, it's a bit of a ball ache, if I'm going to be honest with you. So what type of jobs do I refuse to do based on access? Well, if I have to go through, so if there's like gates, or if I have to go through a garage, I don't mind gates so much because people can tend to, so say if you've got a side gate, they're quite often you can lean over and undo it if the latch is at the top. Don't mind that because my thing is, if I come to the gate, it's locked, it gets locked when I left. If it's unlocked when I get there, it's left unlocked. So I don't mind that at all. I've got it with people where they'll give me a key. I'm fine with that. I'm a bit sort of funny when it comes to going through garages. I've been through, and it's always the ones that you think, oh, never doing this again. So you go through like garages and it's full of shit. I don't like that at all. And then again, you've got that thing of the customer's got to be in for that because they don't want to leave the garage open. And I can understand that, but then you're running that risk all the time. And I've done jobs like that. And if you do 20 visits a year, guaranteed at least 2 of them, you'll have to come back another day because they won't be in. Even if they say to you at the start of the year, I will be in, I'm always in, I don't go out, there will guaranteed to be a time that you will miss them, unfortunately. Is what it is. As I say, I can put up with it, but I don't have any. The only ones I have is steps, and I'm fine with that. Anybody else, I have a key. And that's the thing, ask for a key. I find sometimes, so I had a customer this year, and it was a bit of a long story, and I ended up getting rid of it. But one of the contributing factors was she wouldn't give me a key to the property. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to strong arm her and say you need to give me a key, but it's, if I need to get access, and it's only to the side of the house, it only gives you access to the side. It's not giving me access to like the inside of her house. It's just down the side, and it's not even a strong padlock. And she said to me, oh well, I'm very security conscious. I don't want to run the risk of anything happening when I'm not there. I'm like, well, it is only me unlocking it and locking it when I go. So in a way, you're sort of saying you don't trust me. But that's like, it's a long story, that one. That's a brief sort of thing. But I do find it frustrating because, and this is the thing, people don't understand it. Oh, you can come back another day, pop round again. And it's like, well, I might not be in your area. I've set time for you, all this. And it does get frustrating, it really does. So I do try to sort of, again, factor that in. So yeah, it is, I always say to people, I say, look, if you lock your gate, and I'll lock it when I go, it's simple as that. Even if you like leave the key in a plant pot, and I'll post it through. So say if you go out in the afternoon and I come on the afternoon, and we nights in a ships at a night sort of situation, I'll leave a key in a pot. And I tried this with this lady. In the end, what she ended up doing was just leaving the gate open, which I can't understand. If she's that worried about security, she's happy to leave the gate open opposed to leaving a key, and then I can come and then lock the gate up and then put the key through a door. As I said, another thing I've done before with people is padlock. So if they've got a padlock, I'll put my own padlock, link it through one of the links of the padlock, and then link the other one through the chain, and then that way the customer's got access and I've got access, and it works out quite well. That does. I can come and go when I need to, they can come and go when they need to. As I said, it's when it's it gets annoying. This is the thing, factor it in to quote, don't charge them more. I don't think you could, but just think there is going to be a time when you'll go and it will be locked, and it's very, very, very frustrating. The only ones I will not do is, and another thing as well, I like to have my van nearby, so I don't like parking down the road and working. It doesn't work. I want to be as efficient as possible. I don't mind parking on the road. 9 out of 10 times I'm parking on the road anyway. Doesn't bother me. But if I have to park all round the corner, I want to see my van. I want to be able just to grab a tool, go back in. I don't want to be thinking, well, what's happening? Maybe that's just me, but that's how I like to work. I like to work like that. The thing I will never do is go through people's property. I had 2 jobs like that, and I had 1 quote which was recently, and I will never ever. I've had both of them stressed me. So the first one, the bloke was an idiot, and I was worried he'd trip him because he used to put tarpaulins and bloody sheets down. And if you ever put a sheet down on a laminate flooring, it's a workplace injury waiting to happen. I just said to him, Luke, don't put one down and I'll just wipe the floor. But then you're running the risk of scratching stuff. This is the thing. Oh yeah, bring it through. Well, your mower drops grass. It's just a pain in the arse. The next one was actually for that lady I just mentioned with the security padlock. She all but accused me of dropping oil on a carpet. Luckily, it didn't go anywhere. Again, I rung her up and said I'm going to do the property because she wasn't living there at the time. It was being decorated, and she had the plumbers in to do the radiators. So she sent me up there. I went up there. She said, "Oh, the plumbers have got the key." Got there. Did the plumbers have the key? No. So I lifted what tools I could over, and I took the mower through the house. Shouldn't have done that, but the other choice I had would be to come back another day, but then the same thing could happen again. I had the ego mower with me, so I lifted it, carried it through. About a couple of visits later, she made a point, a bit sort of rudely, about there's been oil dropped on the carpet and she's had to have it replaced at great expense, and do you know anything about it? So obviously I was thinking with me. I did say to her, I said, Luke, there was one time I went through the house. She said, you shouldn't have gone through the house with the equipment, Sam. You should have come and got the key. She wouldn't understand that argument, but in a way, sort of right. It's not up to, as I said, it was my fault, but I did point out to this lady that I used cordless gear at the time, and I was using the ego mower, and I even had the ego mower there, using it on her other lawn. And I says to her, it's an impossibility. I said, it doesn't drop oil, it doesn't even contain oil. And she says, well, it's somebody and it isn't me. So what's that say? I says to her, well, my thing, and I'm not passing the buck here, is you've had plumbers in, they've changed the radiators, it could be the radiator water, because that's often brown or black in colour and it does look like oil. She wasn't having any of it. So like I said, it never went to anything, never went down insurance route, but flip side to it, it could have, and it could have easily. So again, just bear that in mind when you go to quote. As I said, now if I go to a job, I would never go through people's property. It's as simple as that, because you could scratch something, damage something, scratch the floor, drop dirt. Myself, quite often, I'm not being funny, if I finish a job, I could be dirty and I could walk through somebody's house and I could have mud on my arms or anything, or grass, anything, and I could walk and I could just brush a nice little white wallpaper, and I could put a mark on it. I'm not that dirty, but you get what I mean. Anything could happen, and I don't want it. I've never been accused, I've never put myself in that situation, but I've had it a few times where customers have said, oh, I'm going to go out, do you want me to leave the door open so you make yourself a cuppa? No. Lock everywhere up. Oh, well, you might need, I said, I won't need the toilet. I said, just lock everywhere up. I don't want that risk. I don't want that phone call down the line. This has happened. If they know they've locked it, it's on them, isn't it? Also, I don't know who lives at their house. Some old mate can come round and say, oh, I've just nipped in, grabbed something. He could burgle it. I don't know. And I'm not going to tackle, the stepdad or the uncle, am I? It's not my place. So as I said, I do not go through people's houses. I had a quote the other day actually for a gutter clean, and the bloke says, right, it was 2 properties and access was through the garage on both of them. Access straight through the garage, straight through his kitchen, straight through his conservatory, and down a set of steps. And I had the gutter vac, and there was no way on this earth I was going to take that through. The gutter vac is a monster piece of equipment. In many ways it's worse than a mower. It's a lot bigger, a lot more heavier. There's no way on this earth. I don't even know if it'll go through a standard doorway, to be fair. It's quite a big piece of kit. I don't want to do that. Luckily, access was attainable from both sides. in the form of a driveway on one side and access on the other through somebody else's property. So it was a bit of a sort of logistics thing. He had to organise through one of the neighbour's neighbour to go through, and he was fine, he was a lovely bloke actually. And then the other one was his neighbour, who's a bit of a funny bugger apparently. But we got through it and we did the job. I did say to the bloke, if I can't get through, I'm not coming through your property, I'm afraid. But we got it sorted in the end, and we got it done. But like I said, I don't want to be going through people's properties. I don't think any job's worth it at this point in time, because even if you scale it up to a big job, you know, it's like, I just don't want it at all. I really don't want it. Imagine trying to take waste, you know, ton bags of waste through. Worst nightmare. So let me know, guys, if you've had any access based issues. Have a good day.